Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to break down complex game systems into, well, knowledge you can actually use. And if you're currently diving into Legion Remix, you definitely know why we're here today. It's all about power. Our mission, really laser-focused today, is charting the absolute fastest, most efficient way to get infinite power, IP. This stuff, it's the lifeblood of your character in Remix, right? It dictates your speed, your strength, basically your success in this limited time event. We've looked at the community insights, the data, and we've put together a strategy to hopefully maximize every second you spend playing.
And let's start right at the beginning, the absolute non-negotiable thing, the foundation for everything else. Before you even think about farming mobs, before you run that same dungeon again and again, you have to focus on maximizing your infinite knowledge, your IK.
Infinite knowledge. Okay.
Yeah, IK. It's this hidden multiplier. It's account-wide, which is huge. And it directly scales how much infinite power you get from literally everything. Mobs, chests, bosses, you name it. If your IK is low, honestly, your farming is barely worth the effort. But
Yeah.
if it's high, oh man, every single thing you do gives you these massive, disproportionate rewards.
Okay, so it's not just about, killing more stuff faster. It's about making every kill, every node, every boss count for way, way more, like hitting the jackpot every time. So if IK is that critical multiplier, how do we get it? How do we crank that number up? What's the plan?
It primarily comes from the achievement system. That basically gives us our first checklist. The sources, they mention what people are calling lore running, basically methodically going through the main story quests, the campaigns, and also the side stories in the Legion zones. A lot of these core quest lines tie directly into zone completion achievements, and those achievements are often the ones rewarding that little +1 infinite knowledge.
Right, so lore running isn't just aimless wandering. You mean following the actual story paths, like through Asuna, Valshara, Highmountain, Stormheim,
Yeah.
all those, getting those campaign milestones checked off.
Exactly, following the script, so to speak. And beyond just questing, you'll also find pretty significant IK boosts tied to achievements for doing dungeons and raids, especially like the first time you kill a specific boss or maybe complete a full raid wing. The simple advice, the really actionable bit here is open your achievements tab in-game. Filter it. Look for any reward that says +1 infinite knowledge. That list, that's your starting point, your absolute priority before you even think about the heavy grinding. Got to build that foundation first.
And what's interesting, what kind of underlines the whole design here, is that the grinding itself eventually pays off too, right? It feeds back into getting more IK.
Absolutely. Yeah, the research points this out clearly. There are these unlimited power achievements. They track the total amount of IP you've farmed. And these achievements have tiers going all the way up to, I think, 5 million IP farmed. Hitting those milestones actually grants you more infinite knowledge. So it creates this really powerful feedback loop, right? More IK means faster farming, which gets you to the next IK achievement faster, which makes your farming even more efficient. It snowballs.
But the key is starting with a decent base.
You have to establish that base level first. If you jump straight into grinding out, say, that first million IP, but your IK multiplier is like 2 or 3, you're just spinning your wheels. You're making it so much harder on yourself. Getting that foundational IK from quests and initial dungeon clears, that needs to be job number 1 when you jump into Remix. Seriously.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly. We know the prerequisite, IK first. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the actual farming spots. Let's unpack where the real, raw, infinite power generation happens. We're talking high-density mobs, quick clears. Where do we go?
Right. Moving from the big strategy IK to the specific tactics locations. But before we talk about the 2 main mob farms, there's one crucial thing, one absolute requirement. You must be in the heroic world tier.
Okay. Not normal.
Heroic.
Not normal. Has to be heroic difficulty out in the world. This setting is, well, paramount. If you're not on heroic, the specific mechanics that make these mobs drop huge amounts of IP they don't work right. The yields will be tiny. Not worth the time at all. Heroic world tier is basically the on switch for these farms.
Got it. Heroic is the entry fee. So let's talk about the first big one. Probably the most famous, maybe infamous spot. The Eye of Azshara.
Yeah, the outdoor zone.
Yeah.
Important distinction, not the dungeon instance. The open world area just south of Dalaran. Its location is actually pretty key. Being so close to Dalaran minimizes travel, which, as we'll discuss, is vital for dealing with an anti-farming mechanic later on.
Yeah.
Now, in this zone, the strategy involves 2 main types of targets, but you really need to know which one is the real prize.
First, you've got the elites. You usually find them hanging around the middle of the zone. They've got a lot of health, they hit pretty hard, and honestly, they're often just too slow to kill efficiently. Unless you're already really geared up or you're in a super coordinated 5-person group that can just melt them. For most people starting out, probably avoid focusing only on the elites.
Okay, so elites are tough, maybe not the best time investment initially. What's the alternative? You said there were 2 targets.
The second target type, and this is the real gold mine, especially early on, the common glob mobs.
Globs. Okay, why are these little guys so much better?
It really comes down to 2 things: density and the yield variability. The sources consistently point to these globs as the go-to target for mass pulling. They spawn really close together and they respawn quickly. And even though they're just, regular non-elite mobs, the amount of IP they can drop is massive and highly variable. We're talking pulls where you might get like a baseline of 500 IP, maybe a bit more, but then suddenly, boom, a single pull might drop 7,000, maybe even 8,000 infinite power. It's wild.
Whoa, okay. 500 jumping to 8,000? That's a huge range. Is that just random luck, or is the IK multiplier doing that?
It's kind of both, but the big spikes are mainly about drop quality. When you kill a big pack of mobs, the game rolls for loot, right? Most of the time, you get common quality stuff, which gets converted to IP. That gives you your baseline, maybe 500 to 1,000, boosted by your IK. But sometimes the game procs an epic or even a legendary quality item dropped from those same globs. In Remix, that gear instantly converts to IP. And that's when you see those massive 6K, 7K, 8K spikes. So your high IK level makes even the common drops good, raising your average. But the chance for those legendary spikes is what makes the potential efficiency skyrocket.
Right, so the strategy is volume. Pull big, kill fast, maximize your chances of hitting those legendary procs. Makes sense. Now, should you try and solo this glob farm? Or is grouping up essential?
Grouping is definitely highly recommended for peak speed. The good news is there's no penalty. IP drops aren't split or reduced in a group, so 5 people clearing faster is always better than 1 person clearing slower. That being said, soloing is possible. The sources specifically mention certain classes, like demon hunters, druids, classes with great self-healing, strong AoE, good mobility. They can apparently handle the glob pulls insanely easily on their own. But still, if your goal is maximizing IP per hour, get a group. Find 4 other people, focus purely on speed clearing those packs. That's the optimal way.
Okay, group up if possible. And for anyone heading to Azshara now, is there a specific path or area they should stick to?
Yeah, you want to focus almost entirely on the western side of that island. It's often called the Whispering Area on maps. The best strategy seems to be running continuous laps just along that western edge. This path avoids the tougher elites usually found in the center and keeps you constantly engaging with the highest density of those valuable glob mobs. Run the loop, kill everything, repeat.
All right, Azshara globs on the west side. Got it. Now, what about the second spot? You mentioned an alternative, maybe if Azshara is too crowded. Highmountain murlocs.
Yep, Highmountain murlocs. An excellent alternative. It's inside a specific cave in the Highmountain zone. If you're looking at guides or maps, you'll want to find the exact cave entrance they show. This farm works a bit differently. It's less about continuous laps and more about one single, incredibly large pull right when you enter the main chamber. The murlocs are packed in there super densely. You can pull hundreds of them at once, AoE them down in a very short time. Then you reset, run back in, repeat. It's very fast, very repetitive once you get the rhythm down.
And this spot has a nice little bonus, right? It ties back into that IK strategy we talked about.
It does. That's what makes it really efficient. Killing that sheer volume of murlocs over and over naturally helps with certain achievement goals. Specifically, this farm is great for working on the achievement that requires you to kill, I think it's 50, empowered enemies. You know those mobs that are kind of swirling with power, they hit harder, have more health, sometimes summon adds. Killing those is an achievement, and because you're constantly churning through mobs in this cave, you'll encounter and kill plenty of those empowered ones. So you're farming huge amounts of IP and simultaneously ticking off achievements that will likely grant you more IK down the line. It's a nice synergy. Double dipping on progression.
Okay, so we have 2 solid mob farms. Azshara globs and Highmountain murlocs. Both require heroic tier. But now, the catch.
Yes, the catch. Here's where things get, well, interesting tactically. We need to talk about the system the game has in place, presumably, to stop you from just sitting in one spot farming forever. The anti-grind mechanic.
Right. The game eventually says, okay, you've had enough fun here, and cuts you off. If you just stay in Azshara or Highmountain, pulling mobs non-stop. the drops change, right?
They do, abruptly. At some point, maybe after 30 minutes, maybe an hour, the mobs you're killing will just stop dropping infinite power altogether, completely. Instead, they'll only drop a fixed, usually small amount of bronze. Your IP farming efficiency just plummets instantly, falls off a cliff. And this isn't a bug, it seems to be an intentional mechanic, like a zone instance activity cap. They want you to move or do something else. But we're here to find ways around that, aren't we?
Exactly. So to get the IP flowing again, you have to bypass this cap. How do you do that? You mentioned resetting the zone.
Correct. You need to leave the zone entirely and then come back. This forces the game to sort of reset your status in that zone instance, and the IP drop should resume as normal. The absolute key here, though, is minimizing the time spent not farming. Every minute you spend traveling is a minute you're not potentially getting an 8,000 IP spike. Time is IP.
Okay, so let's break down the bypass for each spot. Azshara first. How do you reset that quickly?
Azshara's bypass is pretty simple and fast, mostly because it's so close to Dalaran. You just hop on your mount, fly from the farming spot straight up to Dalaran land, then immediately fly back down to the Eye of Azshara. The estimates are this whole round trip takes about maybe 1 minute, which is pretty negligible. That 1 minute of downtime is an easy trade-off to get your massive IP gains back online.
1 minute, fly up, fly back. Easy enough for Azshara.
Yeah.
But Highmountain, the cave is way out there. Flying back and forth to Dalaran would take ages, right? That would kill your efficiency.
It absolutely would. A simple flight reset for the Highmountain cave would take far too long. It would seriously hurt your IP per hour. And that is where this specific item comes into play. This is a real deep dive nugget.
Ooh, okay. What is it?
The item you need is the Nost Vins voucher. This thing is basically essential if you're serious about farming the Highmountain Murloc cave efficiently. It has this perfect dual function. First, using it instantly teleports you to Dalaran, no flight time. Poof, you're there. Second, and this is the crucial part, it gives you a temporary ability on your action bar. Clicking that ability instantly teleports you right back to the exact spot you just left in Highmountain.
Whoa. Okay, that's brilliant. Instant reset, teleport out, click, teleport back in seconds. You're basically trading a tiny bit of bronze for potentially 5-10 minutes of flight time.
Yeah.
Where do you get these vouchers? You mentioned the Infant Bazaar earlier.
Yep, they're super easy to get and incredibly cheap. You just buy them from the innkeeper vendor. She's right there in the Infinite Bazaar in Dalaran, the main hub for Remix. And they cost just 5 bronze each. 5. It's practically free. So the implication for the Highmountain farm is obvious. Buy a stack of these. Buy lots of them. The more vouchers you have, the more times you can perform this instant, near-zero downtime reset. It keeps your IP farming continuous and highly efficient. For the Murloc farm, this voucher is, I'd say, indispensable.
That's exactly the kind of specific tactical advantage we love uncovering, using a cheap item to totally bypass a time sink.
Fantastic.
Okay, let's shift gears now. We've covered the high-intensity mob farms, but what if, that's not your style? What if you don't want to deal with competition for spots, or maybe your gear isn't quite there yet for heroic mass pulls, or maybe you just want something more chill? Is there a way to get good IP without fighting mobs?
There absolutely is, and it's surprisingly effective. This is the gathering loop. Just using herbalism and mining nodes out in the world, it provides a really steady, consistent, and importantly, non-competitive stream of infinite power. And the best part, it requires almost zero upfront investment or specific gear.
Okay, a gathering farm. Which zone works best for this? Where's the highest density of nodes?
Suramar is definitely the go-to zone for this method. Player reports really highlight Suramar's layout. It's got a fantastic density of both mining veins and herbs, often clustered together. The whole strategy is just flying around the zone, particularly the outskirts of the city and the fields, and just clicking on every herb and ore node you see, as quickly as possible.
And the barrier to entry on this, it sounds incredibly low.
It's about as low as it gets. It's the ultimate low-stress option. There's literally no skill requirement. You don't need to have leveled herbalism or mining in the past. None of that matters. There's no gear requirement either because you're not fighting anything. You just need to be able to fly and click nodes. That's it. It's perfect if you're just starting out, maybe feeling a bit undergeared. Or honestly, if you just want to zone out, fly around, and still make decent progress on IP and bronze.
Okay, but you need to be able to see the nodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if standard tracking isn't working reliably. How do you make sure you can spot them easily on the minimap?
Yes. That's the one small but critical piece you need. You need to buy the Elixir of Remembered Sight. This is another one of those super cheap, super useful items from the innkeeper in the Infinite Bazaar. Again, costs just 5 bronze. You drink this elixir and boom, it instantly makes all the herb and ore nodes appear on your minimap. It turns Suramar into this, like, visible treasure map of IP waiting to be collected. Trying to do this farm without the elixir, just relying on spotting nodes visually, way, way less efficient. You'd miss so much. So 5 bronze for the elixir is a must.
5 bronze for the map hack.
Got it.
And the yield. Is it actually decent compared to killing hundreds of murlocs?
It's surprisingly good, especially considering the low effort. Just gathering a regular node consistently grants a good chunk of IP. The sources often mention getting around, say, 500 infinite power from just one single node click. That's your steady, reliable income.
500 per node? Pretty consistently. That's not bad at all for just flying around. Oh.
Right. But here's the kicker. The big potential payout. Just like with the mob drops, gathering nodes also have a chance to proc rarity. If you get lucky and your node gather procs a blue, purple, or especially a legendary quality drop, which again instantly converts to IP, the yield skyrockets. Reports mention getting up to 6,000 infinite power from a single node interaction when that happens. So you have this chill, consistent baseline income from every node, plus the exciting chance for these massive jackpot moments, all with 0 combat, 0 competition, 0 gear requirements. It's a fantastic alternative.
It really is.
Yeah.
Provides a perfect balance. You can do the intense mob grind when you have a group or feel like it, and switch to the relaxed gathering loop when you want something different. Options are good.
Exactly. And now, if we really want to talk about peak long-term efficiency, we need to connect all this back to the bigger picture. There's a strategy that kind of transcends these individual farms. It involves leveraging something fundamental about how Remix is set up. We need to talk about alts.
Ah, the alt strategy. Using alternate characters. This sounds like where we get into the really big brain efficiency hacks.
It really is, because it leverages that very first thing we talked about. Infinite knowledge. Remember how we said IK is account bound?
Right. Once you earn it on one character, all your characters benefit.
Precisely. Which means every single new character you create, even a fresh level 10, automatically inherits the high IK multiplier that your main character has painstakingly earned through achievements and grinding.
Okay, yeah, I see where this is going. That's huge. The source material even mentions someone farming effectively on a level 24 character, right?
Yeah.
Because their account IK was high.
Exactly. The character's actual level becomes almost irrelevant for IP generation. Their damage output might be low, sure, but the rewards they get are dictated by the account-wide IK. A level 20 character with, say, IK level 20 will earn vastly more infinite power per kill or per quest than a level 70 character who maybe just started and only has IK level 1 or 2.
Wow, so this opens up what you call the multiple birds with one stone strategy.
That's the one. Instead of just grinding IP on your max level main, you can level up a brand new alt character. And while you're leveling that alt, you do the same kind of content that gives good IP anyway. Things like dungeons, maybe even heroic world quests if the alt can handle it with the boosted stats, or normal wades. Think about dungeons. With a high account-wide IK, maybe level 20 or more, you can take a low-level alt into a normal Legion dungeon, and things just melt. The mobs die incredibly fast because your baseline power is so high. And the rewards. The sources mention boss kills in these easy normal dungeons yielding anywhere from 900 IP up to like 4,600 IP per boss. And if you get lucky with an epic or legendary drop proc from that boss kill, could be close to 4,800, maybe 5,000 IP from one trivially easy boss kill on a low-level character. You're getting effectively endgame level IP rewards while steamrolling leveling content.
So you're power leveling an alt and farming massive amounts of IP at the same time. You're not sacrificing one for the other, you're doing both super efficiently. That really speeds up the whole character development process.
Yeah.
And there are longer-term benefits too, right? Beyond just IP.
Oh, absolutely. Big time. Setting up and leveling these alts creates a much larger pool of characters eligible for daily quests. More characters equals more dailies you can do each day across your account. And those dailies often reward bronze, which you need for cosmetics and gear upgrades. But crucially, they also frequently reward that special item that gives a permanent 1% experience boost to your artifact cloak. And more artifact power directly translates into more stats, including eventually more infinite power gain from the cloak itself. So by building this roster of alts using the high IK strategy, you're multiplying your daily bronze income, multiplying your artifact power gains, and accelerating the completion of those big IP farm achievements like the unlimited power ones, since progress seems to count across characters. It's like building an entire power-generating infrastructure for your account.
This has been incredibly thorough. We've gone from the absolute must-do prerequisite of IK to the specific mob farms and bypasses, the chill gathering alternative, and now this overarching alt strategy. Really comprehensive. Okay, let's try and boil this down. Let's synthesize the core directives. What are the key takeaways for someone listening right now wanting to maximize their infinite power game? Step 1. Infinite knowledge first. Absolutely non-negotiable. Focus on achievements. Do the zone campaigns, the main story quests. Do your initial dungeon runs, maybe first-time raid clears. Get that IK number up before you start any serious repetitive grinding. Step 2. High-density mob farming. Head to the Eye of Azshara, west side, focus on globs, or the Highmountain Murloc cave. Critically, you must be on heroic world tier for these to work properly. And remember, grouping up is almost always faster and better if you can. Step 3. Master the anti-farm bypass. For Azshara, it's this quick 1-minute flight reset, fly to Dalaran, fly right back. For Highmountain, the key is stocking up on those dirt-cheap 5 bronze Nos Vins vouchers from the Infinite Bazaar Innkeeper for instant 0 downtime resets. Step 4. The low-stress alternative. If mob grinding isn't for you, use the Suramar gathering loop. Buy the 5 bronze elixir of Remembered Sight to track nodes easily on your minimap. Fly around, click nodes, enjoy the steady IP income with potential for huge spikes from rare gathers. 0 competition, 0 gear needed. And finally, step 5. The ult strategy. Leverage your account-bound infinite knowledge. Level new characters by running content like normal dungeons. Your high IK means you'll get massive IP rewards even at low levels, while simultaneously building a roster that boosts your daily bronze and artifact power gains across your whole account.
That covers the core strategies perfectly. And thinking about that last point, the alt strategy, it really raises a fascinating question for you, the listener, to consider as you start putting these methods into practice. Given how incredibly fast, low-level characters can apparently clear content, especially dungeons, thanks to inheriting high IK, how much more efficient could things get if you combine this with dedicated twinking?
Twinking. Getting bias gear at a low-level cap, like level 20.
Exactly. Equipping a character at, say, level 20 or 30 with the absolute best possible gear available at that level, maybe even gear that scales down from higher levels if the remix system allows. We already know regular level 24 character can farm top-tier IP because of high IK. Imagine how much faster a fully twinked level 20, maybe boosted by a max-level friend, could clear dungeons or even specific outdoor farms. Could optimizing a low-level twink become the absolute, undisputed, fastest path, not just to infinite power, but to creating incredibly powerful characters from scratch in record time?
Yeah.
That interaction between account-bound IK and optimized low-level gearing, that feels like a whole other level of efficiency waiting to be explored. It's something to really think about.
That's a fantastic strategic point to leave everyone with. Plenty to mull over as you apply these strategies. Go forth, get that infinite knowledge up, find your preferred farm, and accelerate your power. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you on the next one.